If you found our methodology, podcast, and general view on sales performance intriguing, you may find this offer very interesting. And as you know, we don't do them often. Before I share what the offer is, here's 3 brief questions I'd like you to consider. Number 1, do you want to take your prospecting to the next level without being that guy who struggles with solicitation confidence and boundaries? 2, do you want to know exactly how to build trust with people in a way that compels them to want to spend time with you? 3, do you want to build an outreach cadence and routine that will help you succeed in a hyper-changing business environment? If yes to any of these questions, join Lappin 180 in our new 4-part webinar series that starts February 15th, 2023. Go to lappin180.com/webinars to learn more about this special series. Outreach is difficult. If you want to avoid your prospects' innate reaction and treating you like a salesperson, you'll need to stop chasing results. I know this may sound odd, but that burning intensity that drives you to pursue that new prospect appointment is often what stands in the way of actually setting it. Listen to this quick snippet if you want to hear the full-length conversation. Scroll back to episode number 5. Maybe it's time to rethink prospecting.
Going back to sales mindset versus advisor mindset, remember, it always comes back to that mindset. If my goal in prospecting is to set meetings, once again, there's a result. I need a result. So if I'm going to sit down for 2 hours and make phone calls, I better get 5 meetings. Well, guess what I'm going to sound like when I make that phone call? Like everybody else who has a result in mind as well. And so to Dan's point about breaking that pattern recognition, I have to approach my prospecting effort differently. I need to focus on the things that I can control. My level of transparency, my authentic voice, my empathy, honest, open communication. The elephant in the room with prospecting is you're trying to control what another human being will do. And that's the one thing we can't control. There is absolutely no guarantee that what I say is going to cause that person to take a meeting with me. So I have to learn to let that go and instead focus on the things I can control. I don't need or want anything from this person, and I am certainly not making any assumptions that a conversation would even make sense between our 2 organizations. So back to, I'm going to stop focusing on the result to get a meeting, which is the one thing I can't control, to what are the things that I can control. And that's that shift from the sales mindset to the advisor mindset. So it is practicing some very different components to your prospecting. And this is where I think, Kylie, if you really dedicate yourself to understanding that fundamental elephant in the room, which is I cannot control what another human being is going to do no matter what, then you will start to see a very different conversation happening and a very different feeling when you go to make those prospecting phone calls. I no longer am going to take it personally. You know, one of the first things you recognize is the reason I am taking it personally is because I do want something personally from it. So it's very easy to not take things personally when I know I'm making these phone calls to potentially have a conversation with somebody, but it's okay if that doesn't happen. And it's amazing the difference, the experience they will have on the other end of that phone when you let the need to set a meeting go and instead really practice those elements on transparency, authenticity, empathy, and being a peer.
Thanks for listening to Breaking Sales. If you want to get engaged with us outside of the podcast, be sure to go to our website, lappin180.com. Go to Contact Us. You can also engage with us on LinkedIn at Dan Lappin or Lappin180.